for it. Good decision. Oh,
yeah.
I'm not sure what. So I think that saved you, to be honest. I think if you had res there, I think you probably would have just died anyway, right? Okay. I want to see us back up. I want to see us get in a safe position, right? Like we're very much like standing right behind our teammates, right? You could be in this room healing your hog or healing your other support, right? Or you could be behind this cover or doing something else, right? The problem is with our positioning here is our whether we live or whether we die is dependent on the enemy team connecting their shots or not, right? We want to be in control of whether we live or die, right? Playing in a room like this, it's basically impossible for anyone to contest you, right? And anyone to kill you. You have control whether you're going to live or not, right? Any moment now, Orisa, Farah, Hanzo could just headshot you and you'd probably just die, right? Okay. I want to see what we do here. Okay. So healing here, why is healing here the wrong move? So after this guy dies, why should you stop healing here? What should you be doing instead? Think about what's happened.
Do I let him die?
So think
or
more
like for
about
the
how would you win the fight. So if I make it a little bit easier, so 2 players have died on your team. That's both your damage heroes, right? 2 players have died on your team, right? So you are currently in a 3v5 situation. You've lost your damage, right? So most likely there's going to be significantly more incoming damage from the enemy team, right?
Okay.
Are you able to out heal that damage?
No.
Basically, no. You're at a deficit, right? For heals, for damage, right? So the only way you can possibly win this fight is to secure a kill. You need to secure a kill to even the odds here in any way, shape, or form, right? So the best thing you can do this entire backup here, as we lost our DPS, is to damage both your the support and your hog, right? We're not going to try to heal them here, right? Do you understand the reasoning for that? Do you understand why that's the decision we need to switch to here?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Alright. Oh, he just dead here. So, yeah, so with your GA, right? So you can GA behind you, right? So a little bit on Mercy movement. How confident are you with Mercy movement? Are you
not very confident.
not very confident? Okay. What I would recommend you do, I actually never recommended this to anyone, but I would actually recommend you go to the Mercy Parkour map. So I don't know if you've
Mercy
ever seen any of
Parkour.
those custom games. Yeah. If you literally just search Overwatch 2 Mercy Parkour, you'll get a code that you can put in a custom game, and it'll basically have checkpoints around the map that you need to get to with using your GA, right? So your movement ability. That just gets you a little bit comfortable with how to use it, right? And the more advanced sort of techniques with stuff, right? Mercy movement is really, really complex, like the skill ceiling for it. But at this rank, we just need to know about how to get out of safety quick enough, right? Or how to get around the corner, or how to switch teammates quickly and stuff like that. We don't really need to think about advanced movement. But for now, there's a lot of those maps that will just help you with the basics, right? Okay. Let's see what we do here. Oh no, what's happening here? Yeah, so we're not really looking around, it seems like, right? Like our awareness is quite poor in the general sense of things, right? Like maybe it's a little bit of map knowledge too, but if we sort of do look at the map here, by default, this main position it is going to be contested, right? This is inherently a dangerous position, right? Whether we've even looked at the enemy team or not, right? So what we need to do here is we need to first look at whether it's safe to walk over there, and then hug a corner like this, right? Why is this a safer position? If you hold here, or if you hide behind here.
Oh, hang on. I don't know if I see your mouse.
Oh, can you see it
Oh,
now,
there.
maybe?
Yeah.
Wait, can you not see the pen tool?
No,
Can you
I
not see
don't see
this?
it. I don't see the pen. I thought I was just going based on where your mouse was.
Oh, you can't see the pen tool?
Oh no.
Why is that the case? What is going on here? Hold up.
Oh, okay.
Now we
Okay,
can, right?
there you go.
Oh, I've been circling stuff. My bad. Okay. Yep. So we're here currently, right? The better position would be over here. Why is that the case? Look at the map. I want you to put the pieces together before you make a decision, right?
Okay, I'm guessing. Cause
I'll give you a clue. Think about line of sight.
Yeah, I'm guessing because I mean the map wraps that way, like where they have to go
Yep,
away, and
good.
then
So think about the enemy team. I'll give you a clue. How much do they have to swing this corner into the rest of the rest of your team to get an angle on you? They have to play quite wide this
yeah.
way to shoot at you here, right? Which means there's a risk for those players to swing that far, right, to contest you, right? Whereas here,
Mm,
coming over here, there's basically no risks, right? They can stand over here and line of sight most of your team, right, and still shoot you.
right.
Obviously, positioning is quite a complex thing, but at this level, we're just thinking about looking around before we make a decision. Think about who can shoot us and who can't shoot us, and then we decide, depending on the scenario, whether we want to make that risk or we have a smarter way about going around it, right? I think currently feel like we're not quite doing enough in terms of thinking, right?
Yeah.
We're quite maybe tunnel visioned, or we're backseating a little bit, which on Mercy is probably best hero to do that on, right? But there's so much more nuance on this hero, right?
Right.
Especially when we're dying, right? We should really never be dying against what they're playing, right? They don't have a Winston, they don't have a Tracer, a Genji, all these heroes which we're actually quite weak against, right? We should basically not never really be dying against what they're playing
Mm,
unless we make a mistake, right? Or a team makes a mistake.
gotcha.
Okay. Right. I want to see what we do next fight. So I want you to sort of talk me through your decision making here. So your tank is dead, so I will forward a little bit more until he comes back. Okay. Alright. Okay, we're full team up here. So I'm gonna give you a top-down view. Think about where you want to stand, what value you're gonna get there, and who is your primary target that you want to heal, damage boost, or whatever, right? So I'll sort of put the camera high up here and just sort of explain where you want to stand and why. So where do you want to walk in first?
Um, shit. Maybe.
So I'll give you a clue. You want to be able to be in range of your team, but you want to be around cover where it's as hard as possible for the enemy team to swing that corner, right, to contest you on the position. Don't want to give you any more, right? I want you to work for this. I want you to think about the game here, right?
Let's see. I was thinking. Well, eventually, I want to maybe get to the red thing, behind the red thing.
Yeah, there we go, right? There you go. Perfect. That's exactly where we want to go. Why do you want to play here? Why do you want to play around here?
That's good. I mean, the way the enemy turns, there's not really gonna be a line of sight until
Yep.
maybe they
And
push to
also,
the yeah.
there we go. And the key difference is if you want to change your target to heal when you're standing here, you need to wide peek this whole enemy team angle, right? Whereas
Right.
if you stand here, you can just freely look at your team, switch your beam, and there's no pressure on you. There's no angle that these players have on you, right? So there's less pressure on you to maybe take damage, which means there's less pressure on your other support to heal you, which means he can focus on damage or he can focus on heals, right? You're becoming less of a liability for your team and you're actually becoming more of a carry, right? You can control. You have a clear vision on your team here. If I show you the angle, right? And you can look at this clear angle, right? You can see
Yeah.
exactly where players are. You can easily switch your beam depending on who you want to contest, or I mean, who you want to damage boost, who you want to heal, and you don't need to worry about dying when you go for that, right? Whereas if your Sig or your soldier or whatever walks up here and you're standing here, I mean, you have to do this, right, to peek
Yeah.
them, to put your heal on. Whereas here, I'm just gonna stand in here and I'm still in range, right? Do you get what I'm saying here with positioning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions about this fight? Anything you want to ask? Anything you're confused about?
I guess like shit. I guess like for the future, maybe like different maps, right? Uh, I guess it's much easier to see during aerial view because right now, I
Yeah.
guess I was first of all, I never considered that red thing because I think I was like
Yeah.
kind of scared to if I normally just play behind my tank. That's probably why. So I was just wondering like in like future maps and stuff, how do I what can I do to kind of think about
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying, right? So essentially, how I've explained this position to you is I've broke it down into mini questions, right?
Right.
Your line of sight on your team. Are you safe? The enemy team's line of sight. The corner that they need to swing. Like, I think how I like to sort of show this to students is essentially, if I didn't break it down like that, you'd be put on a new map and you'd be trying to just jump to this end goal conclusion, which is the position you want to be in, right? But
Right.
what I would recommend you do when you do walk into your own map, so which is not this map, right? You've not been told the positions you should and should not be playing on in defense, right? And you can ask yourself these questions, right? Am I safe, right? Do I have line of sight on my team, right? Can I back up if I need to? What is my risk sort of for the enemy team peeking me, right? And you can almost act like these are checkpoints, right? And they're small stepping stones that get you closer to your end goal position, right? Whether we think about one of them, we're still closer, right? Whether we think about 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? We're still going to get closer to that end goal. So to answer your question about what you think about for other maps to apply this, try to split up your decision with those small questions, right? Like pick it apart slowly, and then you'll come to a conclusion, right? And then the better you get at stuff, the faster you better get into that position, right? Or the better position you'll be able to accomplish, right? Means you'll live longer, you'll be less of a liability to your team, right? That's how you win and carry on Mercy, right? You're in a position to always help, and you're never a liability, right?
All right.
Any questions for that? Does that sort of make sense?
No, that's good. Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Okay, see what we do here. Oh my god, your team has just died. Okay, I mean, this... Actually, looking at this fight here, this is just Hanzo Gaming. Actually, probably... I mean, you were not peeking here because you were scared of the shots, which is fine. But I think if you still were on this position here, yes, you can't out-heal a one-shot, but at least you're less, let's say, worried about walking forward, right? Or about healing your tank, peeking to heal your tank. But realistically here, looking at this fight, this is just Hanzo Gaming, really. Like, I'm not too worried about this. Even though we're definitely going to lose this fight, I'd imagine. Yep. Okay. Let's see. I mean, we win it. Hold up.
Heroes never die.
Okay, our team looks like it wins. Alright, I want to see this next fight. Alright. Okay. So, similar thing here, right? Why do I not like this position?
Yeah, they have a straight shot at me. Like,
yeah, right? Like, where we were playing with our Mizuki or with our Hanzo was a lot safer, right? Because the same value you can get, but you're literally behind a wall, right? Like, you are getting free value here, and you are uncontestable, right? Unless someone gets a crazy flank. But they're not really on a comp that can flank, right? So we don't really have to worry about this. And you've got to manage. Is it worth the risk to stand here to just get one shot or get nuked to get basically the same value, right? If you damage boost Hanzo or you damage boost Soldier, it's basically the same thing, right? In fact, if I'm nitpicking here, Hanzo's the better target to damage boost, right? Because look at his angle, right? He can see all of the squishy heroes here. Okay. He has a more aggressive angle, right? So just ask yourself that second question. Are you actually safe before you make this position move, right? I mean, this is a little bit better. We're hugging a corner, but we need to be on that left. Yeah. I mean, this is okay because we have cover, but... So, for example here, right? Like, your Hanzo has been in a great position this whole fight, but we've never looked at him, right? We've not looked at him because we're not thinking about line of sight. We're not thinking about where the enemy team is playing, right? I mean, talk me through what... Obviously, there's a lot of stuff you've learned prior to this, so just tell me roughly, if you do remember, what were you actually thinking about roughly in this moment before our session? So before what we've learned, like, what was going through our mind here? I'm just curious.
I guess I just I kind of wanted to be closer to the tank, to keep him alive. I think.
So yeah, so let's say we have a very, very sort of enclosed plan, let's say here, if you can even call it that, right? Like, we need to be a bit more broad with that, right? And I think you have the skills to do it now. Like, you showed me on that top-down view when I sort of told you where do you want to stand? What do you want to do? And why do you want to do that? And you were able to give me a rough idea, right? So we're already improving in our theory, right? Just sort of in a couple seconds or a couple minutes of a VOD, right? Which is good. All right. Whoa, okay, this is... Why are we pushing this far? Okay, if you see your team doing this, just play with the guy furthest back, right? So you are holding cover. The problem with that there is you're standing here, you literally have your back to the enemy spawn, right? So if your team is playing a little bit far back, like one player is playing here, play with the furthest back player, right? You don't want to be caught here and you don't want to be killed, right?
Right.
Prioritize yourself, right, before anything else. Don't wide peek if you don't need to, right? Don't rush out in the open to help someone if they're low, because most of the time that player has got themselves in that problem because they're their own mistake, right? Don't make that mistake that someone else did into your mistake, right? I think the best way to put it, if you think you deserve a higher rank and you're actively playing to try and win the game, right? You can't be taking a risk where you'll just die for it, right? Or if you do die, you've essentially eliminated all of your agency in that fight, right? What I mean by agency is you have no potential to alter the course of that fight, right? You're relying on your team, which isn't a good thing to do, as you're probably quite aware, right? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, like there, like that's the exactly situation, right? Like that guy, you obviously know that guy is playing in a stupid position there, but we don't need to walk forward to peek it, right? Here. What I'd be doing here is I'd literally just be standing, hugging this corner, having a clear line of sight on my team and just damage boosting wherever, right? Or just healing whatever I need to. Maybe I'd actually be looking at that Hanzo because he has a really good position, right? Are you duoed with anyone in this game? Are you stacking with anyone?
I guess with the soldier.
You are with the soldier?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense then. So if this was a random soldier, I'm going to hope you probably wouldn't be doing some of the stuff. I'm hoping, maybe. Yeah, because like this guy, no offense to your duo, but like this Hanzo is in significantly better positions like most of the game so far, right? So I'm not trying to bash your
No,
duo
you
or
good, you
anything,
good.
but like if we... I guess this is a problem with duoing, right? Because like you kind of see the other player is actually in a better spot if we analyze the situation. Like he's playing hugging corners, he actually has a bit of a wider angle, he's not in the open, right? I think maybe for future, if we are playing solo, this is the things we look out for, right? When we are deciding who to help or who to damage boost. Right. Okay. So the enemy team is what? Okay, so the enemy team is walking forward here, which means you are gonna get swung if you play wide here. What do you want to do? Where do you want to play?
Maybe the. Let's see. Shit.
So this is a balance between where your team is playing and where you can be relatively safe. Obviously, no one should be playing here. So a note for second point, uh, whatever this map is, Circuit Royale, right? A note for this map, just if you see anyone or you're playing with anyone, don't ever hold here on defense. This is stupid, right? You want to hold this high ground and you want to have angles on this high ground, right? That's how you actually defend this map. You don't push like this to the spawn. This is a really bad position, right? Just as a note, right? So if you are playing with anyone and they decide to do this, you can give them a heads up, right? But where do you want to stand in specifically?
Oh shit. Well,
So it's a balance. I'll give you a clue. It's a balance of where you can play where you're kind of safe, but you're still sort of not too far away from your team. If I give you a clue, of sightlines, it's back to that same kind of point that I made about how much do the enemy team need to swing a corner that your team is holding where you can be shot.
oh, shit. Is that corner up there like
So
the
I'll
little
move my mouse. Tell me when I want to stop.
Yeah, like is that place? Yeah.
Yep, there we go, right?
Okay.
Exactly. There we go, right? We want to be here because, I mean, look at the enemy team need to be like here to have an angle on us, right? Which I realistically think if your team is holding this close, it's unlikely they're going to be able to walk over there, right? Without taking a bunch of damage or whatever, right? This is where you want to stand. Hardest to contest, you can still see your team and you can do whatever you want to do. It's a little different here, but the enemy team need to walk like 2 meters to PQ and one-shot you if they have a hands or whatever, right? Whereas here, multiple meters, right? You're a lot more safe and you have a lot better visibility on your team, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, now Hanto kills stuff, which is good. See what we do next fight. Oh my god. Yeah, this... Oh, okay. So yeah, so situation here, if this isn't our duo, right? We stand with this guy, or we stand with the tank or something on this corner. We don't want to do this, right? I know this is our duo, so I guess I can let us off, but
It's okay.
yeah. I mean, if that sleep hit us, I mean, the soldier literally body blocked it for us, it almost seems like, right? Like, if that sleep hit us, what's going to happen to us, do you think?
Oh, we're dead.
Oh, that's the sleep. Oh my, I mean, it barely misses, right? And it hits the soldier, right? So, like, yeah, if that sleep hits us, you are cooked, right? You are completely dead, right? And you've put yourself in a position to potentially die without the benefits of it, right? Okay. Let's see what we do here. Alright. So damage boost is a priority here. So with topping up players and stuff, for tanks, don't top these players up. The reason for that is, if you just damage boost your soldier or your other support or your Hanzo, right, they have the potential to just 2 or 1-shot someone, right? They have a significantly more potential to actually deny any incoming damage, right? So without getting too complex about this aspect, but if you essentially damage the Hanzo and he shoots the tank or shoots someone in the head or whatever, right? That does more damage. If that does more damage, the player will be lower HP. If that player's lower HP, they're less likely to stay on this position, right? They're more likely to maybe back up for heals, or they're more likely to get some heals from their supports, right? So if you damage someone or you damage boost them, you're getting more of a benefit in terms of resources and, let's say, positionally making the enemy team back up, right? Without actually having to out heal the incoming damage, right? Does that concept make sense? That's a really important thing to understand on support.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone is doing more damage, think about the response that damage does, right? Rather than the raw damage number or the raw heal stat, right? It's more about the response that causes, right?
Gotcha.
All right, so you're only topping up your tanks. If he's lower than half, top him up a little bit, go back to your damage boost, right? That's what Mercy is designed for. Yep, so good response there, but think pathing, right? Like, we can go here and we can do the same job, right? Instead of wide peeking.
Right.
Okay, I see what we do here. This is good. This is exactly what I want to see. Oh, this is not good anymore. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, I mean, your team is, like, actually pounding them. Like, everyone is making massive mistakes all around, right? But your team, it looks like they're just better currently. All right, I want to see, where do we actually come into a situation or a problem? All right, okay, we Valk here. Let's see how we ult.
Heroes never die.
Okay, talk me through this ultimate. So what were you thinking about here? I'll tell you what you should be thinking about with ults later on, but just talk me through why you ulted here. What was the response for? What were we thinking about?
Great question. Can I see like 5 seconds before, or like
What was that? Sorry.
Oh, can I see like maybe like 5 seconds before to see?
Okay.
Maybe I get some.
Thanks for helping me up. I'm getting into this.
Heroes never die.
I guess I felt a lot of damage was coming in, so I was like,
Okay, that's good though. You're thinking about incoming damage. I think the ultimate in this fight is the right thing to do, but what's wrong with the timing? What did we just see like 2 seconds ago? Where were the enemy team?
Oh yeah. They're not.
In the spawn room,
They're
right?
not.
So
They're not
what
here
we
yet.
needed to do here is we needed to just wait until those players actually engaged in a fight with our team, right? So they actually started to walk up, right? They started to actually move forward, right? The problem with this is if the enemy team is smart or they respect your ultimate, which is quite strong, right? It's a damage boost on your team. What higher rank players will do is they'll just stand around cover. They won't bother peeking your team, and you've just wasted your ultimate, right? You'll
Right.
essentially only get 10 seconds of value from it where they don't peek, and then you've lost your ultimate, right? And you've not really won a fight from it, right? So if you win a fight, you've basically knocked off, 30 seconds from the clock, right? By the time everyone groups up and gets into position, right? So what you're waiting for here is you're waiting for the enemy team to step up a little bit more, right? So I'm going to play this. Tell me when you want to ultimate. I'm going to play this. Tell me when you think you should be ulting, right? So look at the enemy team positions.
Oh shit! Maybe now.
Yep. Perfect, right? Orisa swings the corner, Genji's coming in, right? Perfect time. If you ult now, the enemy team is committed, and the best part about this being a low rank is Genji's dashed in. Orisa's used her movement ability to swing a corner, right? Typical low rank tank players. Mistakes are happening all around, right? All we need to do here is acknowledge this and press the button and then just hold left or right click, right? That's the value we're gonna get from this, right? We're gonna have more of our ultimate during the fight, right? So if we look at our ult timer now, what are we at? Like, I mean, we've basically lost like half of our ultimate, right? And it's been wasted potentially, right? So we get basically double our ultimate usage. We're more likely where the heroes we are damaging actually have an angle on the enemy team, and we're probably most likely going to have a better chance of winning the fight from that, right? Which in turn knocks off another 30 seconds, right, from the timer. Like, notice how we're putting the pieces together, right? We're thinking about small things, and then we're thinking about the wider picture, right? And we're thinking about how that actually impacts the objective or the aspect of the game, which is essentially objective control, right? Or understanding what the actual reason is you're playing this map, right? Like, what is the objective, right? How do you play to win for the objective? So, like, we're doing great at keeping our team up here, but, I mean, when this Valk ends, we can only choose to heal one. Okay. Alright, we need a backup here. Imagine if we still had a Valk going on. We're getting contested by Genji here. If we still had 8 seconds of Valk, we'd be in the sky still. It would be really hard to be contested. You'd be still enabling your team to be damage boosted, right, and healed this whole time, right? Because of that slightly earlier ult, you're sort of stuck here with a Genji on top of you, right? And you have no mobility or no movement cooldown, right? Or we're not even trying to run away or do anything, right? So there's multiple problems here, right? There's the ultimate, there's also your cover usage, like, or I mean, I guess lack of cover usage, right? Like, we're just in the open here, like, why aren't we in here? Why aren't we around here, right? And then it's your awareness as well, right? We're not quite looking at enough things, right?
Right.
Oh my, we're just moving, we just faded into the enemy team. Okay, we're actually, okay, you just got cooked here. What happened here? Wait, okay, so what's your GA settings? So if I go to heroes, if I go to Mercy, where is it? Yeah, so what, do you know what this Guardian Angel priority settings on for you?
Let me pull it up. I got open back up.
Because it looks like you wanted a GA to someone on the left or right there, but you kind of just GA to whoever the beam was on, right? So it might be worth playing around with that, I think.
Let me see. Oh, okay. My Overwatch is stuck at launching right now.
That's fine.
Let's see. Yeah, it's not opening. Shit.
That's fine. That's fine. Maybe it's something to look at sort of after the session, right? But I would play around with this. So I prefer beam target personally because I don't need to look at who I'm, let's say, healing or beaming to run away from something. So the problem with what we're doing is not only are we not turning around, so turning our camera, but we're not moving our beam target either, right? So it's like a double whammy here. If you're looking around, you can get around this, right? Or if you like, that's why there's multiple settings here to just depending on what you want to do, right? Are we just gonna play for GA and we're not gonna look around? Then beam target or maybe facing target could be good, right? But then if we're actually looking around and using our GA right to survive, then you might want to prefer some of the other settings, right? So maybe this is something you can trial and error with and have a little go. But I do notice a lot of the time we don't really look around in terms of camera, right? We move our body and it moves our camera, right? But we don't actually turn around to the sides, right? That's something you need to be doing, right? Especially when there's a Genji or someone contesting us. Like, we'd rather ignore the Genji here than GA to the side, right? Or try to get into cover or do something, right? Okay. I want to see this next fight. What are we gonna do here?
Let me fix you up. I'm fostering you.
Good. This is good. So cover usage, right? So why are we standing here when we can stand here, right? Or we can stand here, right? You kind of get the picture, right? Like, look where we're standing.
Yeah.
Super wide angle, right? But yeah, good target priority here, right? We switch from our other support to the Hanzo because we see he's coming out and we know he's probably going to peek the enemy team and shoot. So we prioritize him. Really good. Okay, so he dies there partly because he's stupid, but also because we weren't set up to stay near him, right?
Okay.
We weren't playing here, so we could keep our beam on him. Or we weren't playing here, so we ran out of range, and he walked out, right, and he ended up dying for it. Yes, I know he's peeking the enemy team here, and he probably dies anyway. But your positioning didn't help that.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't set up in the best position possible to get that guy out, right, or to take as little damage as possible, right. That's what we're trying to accomplish on Mercy, right. I think a thing as well to think about is look at the enemy team's line of sight. So I want you to look at the enemy team a little bit more, right? Rather than like sort of focusing a lot more on our team, right? And try to analyze where the incoming damage is coming from, right? If you can analyze that, then you can actually think this player is in a more dangerous position, like let's say a Mizuki here, for example, right? Okay, ignore the Bastion being there, right? A Mizuki here, but your Hanzo is here, right? Or here, right? Here. In theory, the Mizuki is in a really aggressive close position, right? But in actual fact, his line of sight on the enemy team is actually limited, right? So he's actually in a safer position based on line of sight, right? Whereas everyone can see the Hanzo here, right? Does that concept make sense?
Yeah.
Anything you want to ask about that? So your decision making here is looking at the enemy team, right? Looking at your team, and then thinking about where you can stand, where you can get your beam on that player without peeking, right? Or when you are thinking about decision making for your beam, you're thinking about line of sight, incoming damage that might come their way, and where are you going to stand to make that decision, right? Where are you going to stand where you can heal who you want to heal, right? How are you going to set yourself up to help that player, right? I think probably what a lot of Mercy players sort of think about is Mercy's like a backseat hero where you stand there and you just kind of put your beam on someone when you want to heal them or when you want to damage boost them, right? Hopefully this session kind of shows that there's a lot of thinking and a lot of nuance to Mercy, right? Like, yes, she doesn't have the mechanical skill required, right, on Mercy, right? She just doesn't. But she has an insane amount of awareness required. She has a little bit of movement required. She has significant positioning and game sense requirements, right, to maximize that hero or to get as much out of it as possible, right? So yes, we can't tap into mechanics. Like, you can't just go on a flank like on Kiriko and just two-shot someone. You can't do that, sadly. But you're really slippery, right? You have good movement. You can enable a player with damage boost, right? You have other kit and tools that you can use to get value, right? It's just understanding what to do when, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially everything about Mercy and trying to live as well. Okay, I want to see our attack because that's where your positioning, if it is poor, you're going to get punished a lot more, right? Why do you think attack is generally harder to live than defense? What's the difference? Think about positioning. Think about the objective of the game.
You're saying why is it easier to
defend than attack. So think about positioning. So if I give you a little clue here, you are pushing the payload into where? Where are the enemy teams set up?
I guess you kind of is it like you have to constantly change cover more often than defense or
So think more about positioning. So if I gave you a hint, did the enemy team need to fight to stand anywhere on these good positions or on this high ground at the start of this round? No, they're gifted these positions because they're on defense, right? When you're on attack, you need to try and fight or take these positions off the enemy team, right? That's essentially what everything Overwatch is about, right? The defenders get the good positions because they're defending, so they just get the good positions and the defensive positions for free, right? And it's up to the attackers to push through those defenses, right? Or push through those difficult positions, right? Where the enemy team is standing on. The reason why it's harder to do that is it's a lot harder to fight a high ground when you're not on the high ground, right? Or you start off on the low ground because you've got to think about how you're going to walk there. You've got to think about not taking damage from there, right? All these other things without overcomplicating things too much, right? The reason why attack is a lot harder is because the enemy team, there's no pressure on them to run into you. There's no pressure on them to give up their good positions, right? The pressure is on you, on the attackers, to not die and to take those good positions, right? Okay.
Damage intensified.
See, I mean, now your soldier's in a great spot, but we're not with him, right? So awareness here, right? Like this guy's in an okay. As long as he doesn't stand still here, he's in a good spot, right? He has a great line of sight here. He's on the high ground. This is where your sig needs to be, right? Or this is where everyone but one player needs to be, right? Because look at the line of sight here, right? These players are all forced off this position, right? Without getting too like focused on other heroes and what they're doing, right? But I think this is an important concept. This is a mistake from all these players, right? They are wide peeking close to you guys swinging around the corner, right? Remember how I mentioned that this was bad for you, right?
yeah.
This is just as bad for these players. They need to be hugging this side of the corner for that same principle. Where do your team need to be where essentially you can see them, right? This is a mistake, right? They're playing wide. So if you see a player like your soldier here being able to contest these players, especially on the high ground, this is your target, right? This is your priority here. It's not topping off your tank here, right?
Right.
I'm here to help.
Oh no. Okay, this is okay. We're a bit lucky there.
Here to help.
So like now we go to the soldier who's clearly overstayed his welcome here. He's not quite thought about timing, right? When we've got to him, but we're 10 seconds too late, right? Now our Hanzo has a better angle or our Sigma, but we're with our soldier, right? Like, who's he gonna shoot, right? The awareness here, right? Like, we're not quite thinking about where the enemy team is here. It doesn't look like it, right? From our point of view here. All right. We're going to do a similar thing here. I want you to tell me what the enemy team is going to do, where your team is probably going to play. I mean, you probably remember the game. Where do you want to stand and why are you going to stand there, right? What value are you trying to accomplish in this next fight? I'm going to ignore what you actually do. So ignore what you actually do. Think about where you should be playing after what you've learned today.
Okay. I'd
So,
probably
first of all, the first thing is where are the enemy team coming from? What is your goal on where the next fight is going to happen? I'll give you a spoiler. The fight is happening in this line of sight in the next 5 seconds or the next 10 seconds. So, where do you think you want to stand? Or where do you think your DPS may go?
Let's see. So it probably okay. So the DPS probably is gonna take the maybe behind the cover, like those
I'll play it a little bit.
like on the
See where they go. All right. Whoa. Okay, so this is obviously a problem, right? So this is where we ideally don't want to be, right? So essentially we want to be hugging left as much as we can, right? The
Right.
reason for that is, I mean, the enemy team literally need to stand like here to even peek. I mean, realistically they can't because there's a barrier. They need to be like on this high ground to peek us, right? Which, I mean, they can't realistically get there, right? So we're ultra safe there, and we can still see our team. We can still heal our team, right? The worst position we can be in is somewhere wide right, or obviously here, right? So that's where I'm sort of getting at, right? Like
Yeah.
where we want to stand. Where's the fight gonna happen? Where's the incoming damage? How do we stay well away from that damage? Or if we can't play far away from the damage, how can we make it as safe as possible by thinking about that swing angle, right? Okay, I mean, let's see if we die here. Like, surely we die here for doing this. I mean, do we not die? Okay, the Sig saves us with the shield. Like, look where we're peeking, right? We're full wide peeking this sight line, right? Where we could be taking random damage here. When we want to be hugging a corner, right? We want to be here, damage boosting our soldier or damage boosting our hunter, right? Without peeking the enemy team. Like any random shot from something here, and we are just gonna explode, right? Like if someone here decides to connect a shot or two, we're just toast, right?
Yeah.
So we just gotta be careful about this. Oh my god, we're pushing in. I mean, this is honestly, this is okay that we're using cover usage here, but it takes an Ana or a soldier just to do this, and we can be contested still, right? We're not doing any more here without the risk, right? That's the problem here, right? We're trying to minimize risk. Okay.
Still watching over you.
Okay, they just back up and they C9. Okay. All right. So here we win this fight not because our team played well. In fact, your team had terrible angles, right? And everyone played quite poorly there. The reason we won this is because the enemy team is a little bit of a lower rank, right? And they just didn't walk forward, right? If they had walked forward, or if players started to think about sight lines and angles, and the enemy DPS were not sort of stacked here and they were playing here or they were playing over here, this would pretty quickly fall apart, right? How we're playing and how our team is playing, right? So in terms of your response to the enemy team, think about where they're standing and what they're doing. If they're playing on one angle only, there's basically no risk for you to play in a safe spot like this, right? Because your team is doing the same output as they are, right? If they are starting to play a little bit more on different angles, right, which you'll see in the higher ranks, essentially everything high level Overwatch is about angles, right? It's about sightlines and angles. The best defensive setup is sort of how I mentioned on your second point, right? The best defensive setup is like players in multiple positions in sightlines, right? Where the reason why this is strong is if a player stands here thinking that they're safe from a one position, they're actually not, right? Because the enemy team has multiple sightlines, right? So how that affects your mercy play is look around for where your team is, right? A lot of the time, like in another game, for example, you're not going to have your team just completely standing in front of you for the whole game, right? You're going to have players on the side. You're going to have players to the left, to the back, on the high ground, whatever, right? So you really need to improve your awareness to analyze those positions, why they're stood there, and decide whether you want to go there to help them or whether you don't want to, right? All right, I want to see, do we have a fight where we actually have a serious problem? Because so far, okay, let's see what happens here. All right, so who has the better angle here? Is it your soldier who can't really see anything, right? Or is it our Hanzo or Sigma who's, I mean, look at this guy's angle, right? Incredible. Like, I know we're doing with the soldier, but even if we're doing or not doing, you've got to play for output here, right? If you're having coaching and you want to play to win, you've got to be thinking about who is actually getting more value here, right? Or who's actually in a more dangerous position where they need that healing or they need that damage boost, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, so we shouldn't be topping up like this. This is the perfect scenario here, right? We're topping up our tank. Meanwhile, our Hanzo is peeking an Ana, an Orisa with low HP, and a Sojourn, which, I mean, he can two-shot or one-shot these players with a damage boost. And we're healing our Sig where, I mean, do you know what Sigma Grasp does, if I asked you?
Oh, it doesn't do damage. Or
He
it
eats
absorbs
the incoming
everything.
damage.
It absorbs everything.
Yeah, he eats the incoming damage, right? So what is the first question you should be asking yourself on this Sigma's eat here? So essentially, how do you play around this eat? So think about where the enemy team is standing. Think angles that I was mentioning before. When is this Sigma actually needing healing, and when is it actually a problem, even though he's grasping here? I'll circle a clue. Think sightlines. Think angles. So this grasp is frontal absorbing or eating of damage, right? What
Right.
about the sides? What about behind?
Nah.
Right? So it doesn't do that, right? So when you're thinking about your position here, you're thinking, my Sigma is grasping. Where are the enemy team playing? Are they all in front of him? If they are, he's just going to have 1,000 HP in the next second, right? He's going to eat all that damage. If their players scattered around to the left, to the right, behind him, he might still be taking damage. If he is, I might actually need to heal him here, right? That's a very simple decision or plan there, right? But look at the value difference you could get if you were damage boosting your Hanzo or you were healing your soldier or whatever in this situation instead, right? Let's see what we do here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, and there you go. That decision there of you healing your tank, right, when he realistically didn't need to, right? He was grasping, no one had an angle. Your soldier's gone and died for it, right? Yes, your soldier has made a mistake here. He overstayed his welcome here. He was on this position for way too long, but you could have easily saved him here if you had your beam on him, right? Or if you had a little bit better target priority here, right? Either you damage with your Hanzo and he kills this Ana that he's shot low or whatever, or he kills this Orisa who was low, or you helped your soldier live, right? You're still going to get more value, right? You enable a kill here, or you deny a dive, or you deny a kill potential here. You're still getting good value either way, right? Whereas in this decision here, we didn't get any of it, right? We didn't really need to help our Sig, nor did we enable our Hanzo, nor did we save the soldier, right? So, I mean, without getting too complex here, there's a lot of decisions you can be making on Mercy, right? It isn't that one-dimensional. It's very broad on what you can be doing, right? So to split up and like a little bit of a summary on what to think about, analyze the enemy team's positions, analyze your team's positions, think about the kit on the hero that you're deciding whether you want to heal or damage boost, right? Look at the range of that hero. Look at where they're peaking, right? And put the pieces together on deciding what you want to do, right? At this rank, I don't expect us to know about all the cooldowns and to know about all the matchups and all this. That's not really the point. How you're going to win games in silver is not peeking the enemy team, like full wide peeking, right? Having good beam usage, right? Prioritizing your damage boost on your DPS and being impactful with your ultimate, right? So ulting when you see fit, right? When you've analyzed the situation, right? Essentially in Overwatch, what gets more value is a proactive decision, because what a proactive decision is versus a reactive decision is you've planned out that engagement or you've planned out that decision. You've thought about multiple parameters, right? So when you make that decision, you're in control of the outcome. You're in control of the value that that gets, right? Versus a reaction, right? You see the enemy team step up, right? I'm going to press my ult. Do you know that the enemy team isn't on an off angle? Do you know that your team isn't already low? Do you know that you can out heal that damage? I mean, if you've not planned it out and you've been caught off guard, you're probably going to make a worse decision, right? So the key things we need to take away from this, be a lot more aware, think about the enemy team, think about your team, and analyze who is actually in a position where they need healing or who's actually in a position where they need damage boost, right? And play around that. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? I mean, we went over so much, so I imagine you probably got quite a couple questions, right? Or feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but just speak your mind. Any questions? Anything you want to ask?
Shit. I guess like not really a question. I just more like not concerned, but like just curious how to quickly like improve because like I guess it
So
was like the
what do you
same.
mean improve? Do
Oh
you
no, like
mean
because I know
game
like
sense? Do you mean rank?
just like like the games just like how to. I'm just what was that? Like here we like slow things down and like it like it looks like pretty clear to me. Or not pretty clear, but
Yeah.
like it looks a lot clearer, but like sometimes like if I'm in a situation I'm like how do I not go back to the bad habit like like I mean I guess
It's all practice. It's all
yeah.
practice. So everyone starts off making decisions too slowly. And the best part about silver is you can make decision on time or you can make the decision 5 seconds later. Either way, you're still gonna get the value from it. This window of decision making shrinks as you go up the ranks, right? So for
Right.
example, in a diamond game, you probably have 1 second to back up or else you're dead. And then in a masters or a GM game, you're talking a fraction of a second. If you don't back up at the right time or you don't reposition, someone will die or you'll die, right? So in this rank, you have like a 5 second window to do
Yeah.
something, right? Or to make a decision. I think you'll probably be pretty fine with that for at least the near future, right? When we get to the higher ranks, like I think there's a big breakaway in sort of plat diamond where you've got to be a little bit more on it and players are thinking about angles a lot more. So when that hurdle comes, you'll probably notice it quite quickly, right? Because there's a lot more strain on the decision making and the timing of those decisions, right? But for now, just play it slow, right? If you make a decision in 10 seconds with how we've structured these decisions, right? And how we're putting the pieces together to come to our sort of end goal. If it takes you 5 seconds, if it takes you 10 seconds, absolutely fine, right? As long as you think about it. The more you think about things, the more times you plan something out, the more times you've thought of that same situation on that same map, the faster you're going to be able to make that decision, right? Or the more you'll be able to live, the more you'll be able to learn, right? And the quicker you'll be able to apply and adapt, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I've probably coached about 200 students at this point over the last couple of years, right? And the majority of players, it's almost like they've been told to play the game completely differently to how they think they should be playing the game, especially in the lower ranks, right? So it's gonna take you a good week or two to switch your whole mindset of how you think about the game, right?
Right.
And approach it differently. And then as you approach it differently, you're going to fall into problems, you're going to have hurdles, right? And then after you sort of hit that kind of that baseline or that break point, the only way is up after that, right? The more confident you get with your decision making or the faster you make it, the more value you're getting for longer in the fight, right? Your uptime is higher. You're less likely to die, right? All the fight wins and everything will come with time, right? But for now, it's just getting our head around essentially the nuance of this, right? And what's exactly changed, right? And
Right.
think always playing to win, right? You want to always play to win, right? On Mercy, it's a little bit harder than some other heroes, right? Like I mentioned Kiriko and all the other damage heroes or support the damagey support heroes, right? Where you can actually, if you can hit shots, just go to a flank and kill someone, right? You can't do that on Mercy. So you've got to think a little bit more broadly about the game, right? About your teammates' positions, your position, your viability on going on a given angle, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything you want to ask?
I guess like if I was playing someone like Anna, like in terms of like the line of sight, would my positioning be kind of similar for like as
No.
Mercy, or would it be like different?
So why would it be different? Think about your weapons or ranges.
I guessing with the sleep dart and the nade, it's pretty like can have some offensive capabilities. So I
Yeah,
want to
good.
be.
So you do want to anti-nade as your primary goal. So if I go back a fight, just for this situation, right? All right. Yeah. Okay. Here. So okay. Oh, I might have gone back a bit far. Actually, maybe not. This is fine. Okay. So okay, right off the bat here, we're coming over point. Enemy team is here. Where would you want to stand or set up on Anna? So think about your ranges. Think about line of sight. Where's a good place to stand? Where's a good place to set up? So it's not going to be where we would be playing Mercy, right? Because you're way too close playing there. So where do you think you want to stand? So you want to be safe, have line of sight on the enemy team, and be in a position where you can heal your team.
Let's see.
So first of all, think about where the next fight's going to happen. It's going to be around here, right? So where can you stand where you can see this area of the map quite clearly and easily?
Would I try to get on top of the thing? Or
Here?
Yeah.
There we go, right? So that's where you want to stand, right? And the reason for that is, if we show you our camera angle here, we have cover, we have all this cover here, we can just hold here, look at our line of sight here, right? We can look to easily see and heal our team. We can look for nade over here, right? Nade over here. We can pocket our team. We're so safe, right? It's up to the enemy team to get close to us or to react to us, right?
Right.
We can carry the game from here, right? Completely different position to where you'd ever play on Mercy. You can't even attach a beam here, right, on Mercy. But this is why I actually advise students, especially when they're new or they're coming back to the game, is to stick to a hero or to stick to like 2 heroes max.
Okay.
Don't play multiple roles and don't play like tons of heroes in one role, right? Because what you've learned on Mercy right now, on Ana it's very different, right? Like I've told you to not peek and to live on Mercy. If you do that on Ana, you're basically throwing the game, right? Because you have 150 damage headshot on a perk, right? On Ana, like you want to be shooting the enemy team, you want to be playing aggressive plays, right? Because you're rewarded for it, right?
Yeah.
On Mercy, there's no reward for you to peek the enemy team other than you get your head blown off, maybe, right? So to answer your question there, it's very different on multiple heroes, right? On support. So what we need to focus on is just sticking to Mercy, applying what we've learned, and the progress and the understanding will just come after that, right? I think if we are struggling to apply everything, what I advise most students is to sort of split things per session, right? So let's say you play tonight or you play tomorrow or whatever. Think about your positioning as a priority, right? Cover usage, right? Where do I want to stand where I can safe? And play that for a night of playing, right? Then the next day, think about another skill and try to compound things slowly over days, right? And then hopefully at the end of it, when you're happy with everything, you can sort of put everything together, right? And see how you get on in a game with thinking about everything. At this stage, I imagine we're going to be quite overwhelmed with just a couple things. So this sort of approach to it gives you a clear focus for that day, but it still gives you that progress as you